Genoa, Nevada was an accidental discovery that was found during the colonizing process of California. They were on their way to California in their expedition. It happened in 1851. First, I will be going over the whole history of Genoa. Second, I will be going over what led Genoa to what it is today. And third, I'll be going over what traditions have been kept and the history of Genoa itself. Genoa was founded back in 1851 by Utah settlers while they were on their expedition to California. The settlers later found other areas for great agriculture. It is important to know the history of Genoa because it is part of Nevada's history. It was the first settlement here in Nevada. A lot of people actually don't know about the history of Nevada. I've met plenty of people in Las Vegas that have never heard of it. I actually was lucky enough to grow up in that area, so I grew up knowing a lot about the history and what went into it. Genoa was crossed over during the expedition to California during the years 1834 to 1844. Here's a quote from McBride. The group left Sapling Grove near Independence, Missouri, with news and a few details. That as a route took them somewhere to the west. The group encountered Thomas Brokenhand Fitzpatrick, who guided them hundreds of miles. That's from page 11 in that article. Modern-day Genoa now passes through Highway 88, which also is located in Carson Valley. Later on, Carson City, Minden, Nevada, and also Gardnerville, Nevada, later on Reno as well, were all colonized in those areas. Wally's Hot Springs was also a huge attraction. It's about 10 minutes away from Genoa, and it's just the natural hot springs. Just up the road is Lake Tahoe, which is a natural source of water. And then, of course, all of Carson Valley land has become great agricultural land and is still used in that way for farming. Joseph Sowell said that those who did not like California would settle here, which is completely true. A lot of the settlers would end up staying in Genoa, Nevada, as well as Carson Valley, because California is a little bit different political-wise and everything, so they stayed over in Nevada. Now that I've gone over the history of Nevada, I'm going to talk about Genoa's history and what it has led to today. So a few traditional events that took place was the candy dance. It raised enough money for them to put the first stoplight in Genoa, Nevada. The Mormon station was also placed there and is still kept up today. They make sure to keep that up to date so that way any Mormons that want to attend it can go to church there. Actually, Lake Tahoe was settled later on, and they used that for fishing, freshwater, like I said, and also other agriculture land. Landmarkers, they also make sure to put landmarkers all around Genoa and around Carson City to inform everyone about the history. The events that occurred in Genoa's history led it to be what it is today, including the traditions that have continuously been celebrated. Newspaper articles are continuously put out to update locals what is going on in the area. Halloween, there is a continuous hayride that goes through all of Genoa. You're able to do trick-or-treating, and then there's food prepared for everyone after that all the locals will actually bring in. Christmas, same kind of thing. Food is brought in by the locals and everybody celebrates it together. There's also a morning service at the church, both Mormon church and as well as the Christian church in Genoa. Like I went over earlier, the candy dance, that's held in September. It's over a weekend, and they have a ton of vendors that set up different food, drinks, as well as handmade goods that they are there to sell. Nowadays, it's just for their own personal income, although back then that's the money that was raised for the spotlight or the stoplight to be put in. St. Patrick's Day, mainly is celebrated at the saloon in Genoa. And then church services, of course, like I said, the Mormon church and the Christian church are both continuously having services there. In conclusion, the accidental discovery of Genoa was the colonizing process of what Genoa is today. My goal was to inform the audience of how important the history of Genoa is. Like I said, a lot of people do not know the history of Genoa and what it has come to. Fallon, Nevada was believed to also be the first settlement of Nevada, but it is not. Genoa was the first to ever be discovered, and it is able to be proved with different timestamps throughout time. And the candy dance is the biggest event that takes place in Genoa, Nevada. Thank you for your time.
Cindy, you got to